Hi, welcome to another installment of Let's Talk About Food. And I'm going to let you know right now that this is not my typical informational video. This is my soapbox moment, and this is something that I really harp on, and I see so much need for it and education around it. And I think that as a human species, we are just starting to research and understand these pieces. And as I open up news articles or studies, I am seeing so much information on this and I'm screaming yes. And I still don't really know a lot about it, but I can intuitively say this is a huge concern for me and something that I'm seeing and I know a lot of other people are seeing in the health communities. So what I want to talk on today is what I'll call biome, but it's really just being open to the idea of having bacteria and other microorganisms around you. I feel like us as a society, and I don't want to go on to this rant too much, but as a society, we are so closed off and inclusive about others, but even just like animals and bacteria or anything else around it, that we want to have our own little spaces and control who and what's in them. But the reality of life on Earth is not that. The reality is that we have millions of microorganisms in our bodies and on our bodies all the time. Our nose, our mouth, all the way through the end of us is a open digestive tract. That means that bacteria, even, mycorrhizal, viruses, mycobacteria, so many microorganisms that we don't even know about are populating our bodies right now. In fact, I don't have the number on me, but you can research, how much bacteria is just in a spoonful of soil and in a, square inch of you, and it's amazing. Those in the genealogy world will say you actually have more bacterial DNA in your body than human DNA, and that's pretty crazy, and I forget the number, but it's something like 80% more. It's a lot. And as a human species, how this is relating to health, in my opinion, is that we've really done our best job. Now, I don't think we can totally do anything about it, because guess how much bacterial DNA you have in you right now. So there's not too much you can do about it, but we have tried to sterilize and sanitize ourselves up to the hilt, because we feel like, oh, we know this bacteria, E. coli, or we know this, parasite causes distress in our bodies. And I'm not saying those things aren't true, because they clearly are, but it's typically not the fact that this causes this. It's that too much or too little of this causes this. So really what we're dealing with here is a imbalance. And I find that so interesting as somebody who lives rurally and somebody who's a mother and somebody who's trying to eat and feed my children in a healthy way, is that it's not necessarily about doing this or doing that. It's having a balance. And just think about how balance applies to your daily life. And end of that soapbox. But regarding bacteria, and again, it's not just bacteria, it's mycorrhizal. I mean, if you look at the mushroom science regarding our health and plant health and soil health, it's amazing what mushrooms do. Again, I don't think we've even scratched the surface, but I'm just going to talk about bacteria, but know that I'm talking about mushrooms and even parasites and viruses and all of those different microbes. And so maybe I'll just say microbes. But our bodies are populated with these, and we need a balance of them for us to be healthy. They truly help us digest our food, have, hormonal processes, things that we absolutely need for everyday life, but we are trying our best to cut them out, right? Not just use hand sanitizer, not just scrub our skin as much as we can, but we are trying to cut them out of our food system. And one way that we do that is tilling. When farmers use plows to till up the ground consistently, now sometimes you have to till to be able to start a new garden bed. That's okay. But if you're tilling 4 times a year, studies show that tilling is actually more damaging than herbicides and pesticides for the soil health. Think about that. But you are breaking up all of those microbe homes and killing them. And so your plants that you're eating are, grown without any microbes. And then they harvest them with, 1% of their microbes left and wash them like crazy, maybe in chlorine. And then also put them on, the produce shelves was sprayed with water with like super nasty stuff in it too. It's really crazy how much we're scared of bacteria and microbes. On the animal side of thing, I see the same thing. You really have to have a balance. In my earlier videos on beef, specifically, I talk about how the health of the animals is really based upon having a good solid, grassy mat or hay or whatever for them to be on. Because once they're on bare dirt, they're basically sitting in their own microbes, their own poop, and, possibly eating food from that. And that is going to create a parasite and bacterial issue for them, and therefore in the foods that you eat. So having that balance of them being moved, of them having new fresh pastures is totally necessary. And then I talked a little bit in that video as well on how when we bring the animals to process, even if we've raised them in the most healthy way possible, we or the processors are going to be dipping them in some pretty nasty washes, obviously to make sure there's no bacteria spread. And I really appreciate that. But at the same time, studies have shown that you can wash produce and also meat in water or less toxic things like vinegar or hydrogen peroxide, diluted properly, that will kill any excess bacteria in a much less toxic way. So even if you're buying the most healthy food in the world, if it's been processed at one of these state licensed facilities, it's still dumped in super antibacterial stuff. So as a consumer, you just can't get your hands on food that has a healthy microbial balance. And I'm calling that the biome of the food and the biome of the soil. And then that affects the biome of the person eating it. So at least once a day in one of the mommy groups that I'm in, I see a mom say that my child is not absorbing nutrients. They have gut problems. They have eczema, which is a gut problem. And what should I do? I always suggest the product Biome, which is by Dr. Zach Bush, who's super cool. You should follow him. And that is essentially dirt, dirt water, but it's from, they do a lot of fancy stuff to it and make sure it's safe and healthy. But that will help, replenish your biome. I had a coworker who said that his grandma, whenever, I think she was Polish, whenever someone in the family was sick, she would tell them to go out in the backyard and to grab just a spoonful of dirt. And I loved that because she's just telling them that they need to probably get a lot of good minerals from that dirt, but also just to grab that, those microbes and get them into your digestive system and have them help you actually process either the toxins or the nutrients that you need to be able to thrive again. And so, I just love that idea, but I really think that it's something that we're all missing. And so I also tell those moms, just go, if you don't have a garden, go find a local farm. Most of them are always looking for volunteers. I know that I am. And just have your kids get their hands dirty and don't be a Nazi about washing them. Yes, wash your hands with running water and soap before you eat, but don't be crazy about them wearing gloves. Just allow them to get inoculated with these good microbes because our bodies need it. We evolved having access to nonstop bacteria, and that's what our bodies need. Our bodies in balance can help balance all of the microbes and make sure that you don't have an excess of this one or too little of this one. They can balance that, but not when you're not giving it to them, and not when we just don't have any access to these foods, but also just the daily lifestyle of getting in contact with the dirt and everything that's out in nature. So there's my soapbox on the biome. I hope that it's helpful to kind of reconfigure how you think. And I really encourage you to get your hands dirty because I think it has a huge impact on health. And again, that product, if you or your child has an issue with gut stuff, I can tell you our whole family takes it. It's called Biome. And I can shoot you the link to that maybe in the description so that you can grab some if you need it, but it's an amazing supplement. I'm not trying to affiliate or plug it right now. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, go out there and get dirty.